All right, hey guys, we're back. Cliffs Hole 3, par 5 again. Wow, 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 wow. So that is brutally downwind. This is actually a very tough wind. What I recommend when you get a wind like this is probably take a... So aiming off the cliff is very, very dangerous. And you can see that's kind of what my opponent is doing here. If he great balls it right, he could end up in a world of trouble. So, let's just kind of see how this goes. What I recommend is putting on a Kingmaker, and he did great ball right. So this might not take much wind at all. And there you're seeing that it actually does go down into the abyss. So like I was just mentioning, the way to avoid that, because my opponent, his ball never got up into the wind. What you can do to avoid that is you can put on a power ball like this, or a wind ball, and put the target much more up on the cliff like I'm doing here, and we should be good to go. And like I said, like I mentioned, kind of the biggest key here is just making sure that the target is on the cliff. And you can see how the wind plays here, and I'm able to easily get it down to the last fairway, put it in position for the albatross. Oh wow, giving him the wind again. So it looks like the wind angle is very similar. My opponent's going to run into a very similar problem. If he does not use a good power ball, he can't get that wind down enough to maybe keep it on the island. This is a very, very dangerous shot. What I would really recommend is so notice how my opponent now is up on the cliff. That's how you want to do it. That's how you want to set up your shot. You want to start your setup on the cliff. Make sure you never go down the cliff, because you could see when my opponent, as soon as it went down the cliff, the wind didn't play. It didn't go down at all. It cut back to the left a little bit, but you could see the landing zone was far shorter than mine, even though he has a much longer driver. So it just shows you that the wind's not playing. And, that's as a result what happened to my opponent there. So here you can see with this setup, much easier. And, we might set up here. I sized it up here, and I'm kind of close to mid-club. Mid-club for me is about 2.25. So that's very close to what I'm going to play for this, is 2.25 per ring. So I might go maybe just a hair more than 4 rings here. Just fractions off. So unlucky there, but as you can see, with my opponent, he would have to hold this out, and I'm assuming he's not going to. And I'm not going to assume that, we're just going to move on. That's what my opponent does, just forfeits out. But in any event, good luck with that hole, and, try your best to use my tips for that, because, the ideal wind is when it's pointed to the right. And why? Because when it points to the right over there, it goes more towards the open cliff where the fairway opens up. So you can really drive it down there farther. In fact, if you guys remember from the tournament, that's the way that the wind was angled. It was angled maybe like 1 o'clock last tournament there. And it makes for a far easier wind than when it's pointed to the left. So when you have a left wind like that, you need to be very careful. First off, your target can't be below the cliff. And if you great ball it right, it makes it even worse. So if he would have great balled it left, it might have salvaged it, but at the same time, it might carry, since he didn't use a very high power ball, it has a lot of wind so it could end up carrying it over to the long rough. And that's one of the reasons that I put on a Kingmaker there, is to have more wind resistance so it doesn't carry long into the rough on the left there. So keep all that in mind for your shot, and I think you'll have some luck, and a lot more success that way. So good luck, and catch you guys on the next.